When it comes to planning for your future, you want someone you can trust. At Prairie State Investments, Mark Pfeiffer is here to help you build a plan that fits your life, your family, and your goals. Whether it's retirement, college savings, or investing wisely for tomorrow, Mark has the knowledge and local commitment to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future up to chance. Call Mark Pfeiffer at Prairie State Investments today at 815-668-8131 and start investing with confidence.
Welcome to NUIC All Access, joined by Jay Doyle. I'm your host, Kyle Kampmeyer. Today, we feature 3 guests from the East Dubuque Warrior basketball team. Jay, introduce our guests to us today.
All right, today's guests are head coach Hannah Thiele, along with senior players Haydan Dutler and Lily Rausch. Here's a look at what they've accomplished so far. Coach Thiele is in her first year of guiding the Warriors, currently has them at 18-4 and sitting in first place in the NUIC West at 7-1. The Warriors are searching for their first conference title and first regional since 2018, when current boys coach Scott Shaber was the girls coach. We'd like to welcome to the show.
Thanks, ladies, for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hannah, we'll start with you. First year as head coach, you're 18-4, first place right now currently in the NUIC West with that big win the other night over River Ridge Scales Mound. When you took this job, what did you believe this group was capable of becoming?
Yeah, I've gotten to know a lot of them over the past few years, before being a part of like the East View program. And what I did know is that there were a lot of really talented athletes, that were really dedicated to like getting in the gym, getting to be the best they could be, putting the work in, and just showing up.
So for you, Hayden, new coach coming in, senior year, how early did you sense this team had a chance to compete and compete with how you guys are playing right now for a high seed in a conference title?
I'd say I noticed it really early in the season, like during open gyms, and even when we played at Southwestern, we went undefeated. I just noticed like the level of commitment that everybody had, and it made me really confident that we could chase that conference title.
So, Lily, what feels different about this season compared to previous years within your program?
I think the biggest difference is the culture. Hannah and Wes have made it a big thing for the team to be bonded together. Like, we do a lot of fun activities together. Like, last week we went down to Moline to watch a boys game, and so we're really connected through the team.
So, Hannah, I saw that you took them down to Moline. Obviously, you're a Moline alum. You're at Orton Fieldhouse, obviously the largest stadium for high school basketball in the state of Illinois. How was that for you as far as getting your team back to your hometown?
Yeah, it was cool. Moline Rock Island's obviously one of the best and the oldest rivalries in the state. So, and I always say like I basically grew up at Wharton Fieldhouse between watching games and playing there, having our name up in the locker room there still. So it was really cool for them to kind of experience the energy and all of that in that building.
So the key is always for that, Hannah. What's the best place to eat down there? What's the secret place that
like
every
local-
town has?
Everyone will say Hungry Hobo. I think Grinders Spaghetti House is probably
right.
the best.
So when we make a trip down there, we're gonna test you on that.
We're going to Grinders.
Yes, Grinders. So Hannah,
Homemade bread.
what's that?
Homemade garlic bread.
All right. So Hannah, question for you then. Come in first year head coach to the girls program. What were some non-negotiables that you put in place day one that you firmly believe in for your program?
Yeah, I think energy and effort was something we talked about really early, and like you can't just show up, expect to get better. You have to like give your all when you're there in the gym. Obviously over the summer, there's a lot of girls that have other commitments, whether it be other sports or family things. But like kind of our emphasis was when you're in the gym, like you're here to work. And if we're working hard, it'll lead into the fun that comes now with the work paying off. I think we've added a few like non-negotiables throughout the year as well. One of them that I know got them all at first was the bus rides on the way home. We made it mandatory for them to ride the bus. I think Sid talked about that in her podcast a while back, but I I think it kind of added to our culture and like our team togetherness too. I know it was a little bit of like a growing about it at first because no one wants to be on a cold bus for an hour after a game, but I think they really kind of took it and ran with it and made it something enjoyable.
That's one of the things I did with my guys when I took over a program was the same thing. I made them all want to ride the bus home. My first year, we won a regional title at East Dubuque. So it was a long bus ride back to Dakota at that time. And I had like 8 kids on the bus. So it wasn't as an enjoyable ride home for a regional championship as what it could have been. So following that season, I made sure everybody rode the bus home, and a lot of it was just that to build more camaraderie and have that fun bus ride home experience. Because let's be honest, high school athletes, when you get done and move on, the things you remember most are those connections you had with your teammates, and a lot of that time is spent on the bus on road trips, and it makes it more fun and enjoyable, I think. Hayden, how has your leadership grown from being an underclassman to now being a senior with higher expectations on your shoulders?
I would say when I was a younger or a underclassman, I focused more on just working hard and focused on learning. I led by example more. But now as an upperclassman, I realize it's more than just how you play. It's about being vocal, encouraging your teammates, and just like overall like being there for each other.
And then for you, Lily, everybody talks about when everything is good, right? But when you guys have had a couple struggles here and there or a loss here or there that may have affected the team and the chemistry, what have you done in your role to keep this group we call steady, not too high, not too low, but in the right mind frame, game in and game out?
I think that my role is maintaining a positive attitude and encouraging my teammates and uplifting them and making sure that we know that we can play the game and we can get through this adversity.
So back to you, coach. What's been the biggest adjustment for you being a first year head coach? And obviously, I know you've coached at like the travel or AAU style type levels, but you're new to the high school head coaching scene. What's been that biggest adjustment you've had to make in live game situations?
Yeah, so I spent the last couple of years at Loris and I was obviously an assistant. So I was kind of just the one that would like listen, especially like through timeouts. Like I would sit and listen, get the board ready, all that. But now like we have like someone grabs the board and I'm like, oh shoot, it's me. I kind of started like an oh shoot. Like how do I fit everything in seconds or a minute that we have? But I think it's gotten a little better this year, like confidence wise. Being able to like think on your toes a little bit. I think that was definitely a big adjustment. But I love like the strategy side of basketball. So I think just whether it's on the court or off the court, at practice or whatever, I like trying to figure out how to like manipulate the defense and using the things that I think might work. I mean, it's assistants are great, and I love being an assistant coach, but it's kind of cool to be able to play with the game in a different way as a head coach.
So the first time that happened and someone handed you the clipboard in that setting, did you go to hand it to somebody else or and realize that, or how did that work?
Kind of like, oh, I think I kind of walked over the side, and they're like, "Oh, get in the middle," and I was like, "Oh yeah, we got to be right here." It was at one. There was there's not as much space on the sideline there as we have here, so it was kind of like, oh, now I got to make sure everyone's around, and but no, it was definitely it was a new experience for sure.
So Hayden, what's a positive habit that this team has developed that sometimes fans or the casual observer doesn't see?
Say we all hold each other like really accountable, even during practice.
And then Lily, how do you guys hold each other accountable with keeping the trust in the locker room and keeping it positive?
We always try to push each other, and we know that feedback that we give to each other is always positive, and we don't mean it in a negative way, and we try to just uplift each other and make each other the best players that we can be.
So, coach, you're sitting in first place. How do you keep the team going and not get comfortable with where you're currently at?
Yeah, I think we've seen through not only just the conference, but the whole area, like any team can lose on any given night. There's plenty of teams that have had upsets. There's plenty of teams that have only I mean, there's a few games that on paper that we should win by more, but, like, people want to beat teams that haven't been beaten as much this year yet, especially in conference. So, our motto for the year was "Stay hungry." It's on our warm-ups, it's on all of our social media stuff. That was something that was player decided by the seniors. And I think that kind of, sets our, like, mentality at the forefront. Like, this is what we wanna keep doing until we're not able to do it anymore.
I like that.
So question for you both, Hayden and Lily. What standard at the beginning of the year did you guys have in practice that's now something that has benefited towards the end of the year?
I think just showing up ready for practice and wanting to give it your all every single practice. That's easy for the game.
Yeah, I would say like just always playing at 100%. Like you're gonna play how you practice. Hannah always says that. Like you just gotta show up and push each other to get better, and you'll see results that way.
So
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Kyle. Go ahead.
So you guys are really buying into the culture change that Hannah's having here, because that's like the second time you guys have referenced what Hannah's saying and doing into your own words. So obviously she's having a positive effect on you.
So what's one thing for both of you? What's one thing that with the better habits in the summer and the better habits at practice that you guys have seen the biggest change now later in the season with your game? And it could be personal thing for your game specifically, Lily and Hayden.
I would say we've always we've grown up together and we've always trusted each other, but I feel like as we keep going, as we start progressing, we are able to trust each other even more. And I just feel like that plays a big role.
Yeah, I think our trust is really good and we're always together through school and other sports, so we just know each other really well.
So I'm going to ask you, ladies, a question that I ask my boys as well. Who's the teammate that is the biggest jokester in the locker room?
Yeah, there's a couple.
I'd say Peyton.
I say Peyton. She always knows how to just I don't know, be funny.
Yeah, get the mood
Get the
going,
mood going.
hype us up.
Coach, there was a rubbing of the head there. That was there a reason for that?
Yeah.
Probably
Oh, just
sometimes when you
thinking back
don't need the
some
jokester.
of the Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she'll appreciate sharing this, but, our game at Warren a few weeks ago, we were standing at the captain little huddle before the game, and, she always jokes around with, Fred, the Warren coach. And this time, instead of just shaking his hand, she shook his hand, and then she rubbed his head after he's bald and told him that he was bald. So, I mean, it was totally in love, reaction or like a positive reaction or interaction. But it's just that kind of stuff. I think I kind of gotten used to it happening from not just her, but from a lot of them. Just they're a fun group to be around.
Fred, how'd Fred take it?
He was cracking up. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
he
believe that.
thought it was hilarious, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I think I did the same thing I just did right there. I just went, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!" But
I believe that. Fred's always got good
Yeah.
spirits. So,
he does.
Hannah, if someone hasn't seen East Dubuque play yet, what's the one trait that defines this team in your opinion?
I think energetic. We really take pride in our energy on and off the court. We try to celebrate whatever we can. Like I know I brought along kind of from the college setting, like when we win a drill, or like beat a score that we had gotten the day before in like a shooting drill or like one of our transition drills, like we need to get excited and like bring like kind of start practice with that energy. So I think I kind of said one time that we needed to get a little more excited, like maybe push each other around a little bit. So that has evolved into now during a game when we score, I get pushed. So there's been a couple times where I've been on the court because the couple behind me give me a good shove. But I mean, I can't tell them to do something that I'm not going to do as well. So that means I have to bring the energy as well. And as much positivity and whatever as we can. I know we have a few on the team that really they'll flex and do all their shenanigans. So I think it's like the energy especially in big games, I think is pretty unmatched for us.
So it's been a little while since I watched your team play live. It was at Eastland. And one thing I noticed is you have a lot of similar traits to Shaber, where you're moving up and down the sideline quite a bit.
No towel though.
Yeah.
I so I was told about that before the year. They're like, "Are you gonna?" So many people were like, "Are you gonna carry a towel around?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like I was confused, but I think it's great. I played for a lot of coaches who have like been really energetic and like my coach in high school would wear like the high heels and be like stomping up and down the baseline or the sideline. So and then for AAU same. My coach from Davenport, she was very very loud like um she would push, hype us up, all that. So I think just trying to feed whatever energy I can into them as well. It's always a good thing.
Yes, and you need a jumpsuit too. That was the one thing that we noticed with Coach Shaber when we went and watched him play at Eastland.
At
At
Eastland.
Eastland,
Yeah.
also, he had the white jumpsuit. Have you guys seen that white jumpsuit at all? There's
No.
not many people that could pull it off, but he is one that can definitely pull it off.
You got to stay for the post game to see it, though.
Yeah, it's after the game. It's not pre-game. It's after game. Changes into it. Hayden, question for you. You guys have had some close games, and you talk about the Warren game. That was a double, I believe, double overtime or overtime game that you guys
Yeah.
won that games. Late in close games, what do you guys trust most about this group of getting the job done?
Well, first, I trust like our ability to just like stay calm. Like we are really composed when it comes to being under pressure and stuff. But I also just trust my mates to just make that game winning shot, make that game winning free throw, make that game winning pass. Like I trust them really with everything and everybody trusts each other. And I think that helps a lot when it comes to situations like that.
So, Lily, kind of feeding off of that, what gives you confidence when the pressure is highest? And who do you might turn to as well to help feed into keeping the calmness on the court?
My coaches and teammates give me confidence because I know that they believe in me and they know that I can have the ability to do it.
So, Lily and Hannah, you don't have to listen to this next, or Lily and Hayden, you don't have to listen. Coach, question for you. So now that the dust settled, you guys are in the 3 seed. You'll be at River Ridge against the conference rival in their regional site. You split the series with them, beating them Friday night. How do you now keep the team focused to end the regular season? And what are your thoughts like looking into that regional with many, many, like in every other regional, some of the top teams in the area?
Yeah, we've said all year that like we need to control what we can control. So seeding is something that we just do our best and whatever happens, happens. I mean, I think we all love the opportunity to get to play, whether it be Galena or West Carroll, like either one of those teams again, with Galena being kind of the rival too. I think we take it
Yep.
a game at a time. Like we look like forward to River Ridge unless we get through the first game. So and like I said, any team can win on any night. So we just have to make sure we're prepped for whatever game comes next and yeah, take care of business.
Yeah, that's the one thing I know Kyle and I have talked and other coaches on the boys and girls side. It's both sides this year that you could see anywhere from that 5 or 6 teams in either regional win a regional. Like everybody's beat everybody. And I think that's what was the hardest thing in seeding the girls and then on the outside looking at the boys regional because you look at the Galenas and the East Dubuque on the boys side the other night playing like a 4 over. I don't know. Were you guys at that game? The 4 overtime thriller that everyone was talking about. It's like those games mean a lot. And this week they have their regional sites and everything set up. It's like those games mean so much, but they can meet again in a regional setting. And it's just so much different come regional time. But looking at your guys' regional, to, if Galena happens to beat West Carroll, which projections show they do, you set up a third meeting with a team with a lot of pride in Galena that's, won a regional the last. Kyle should know the answer to
I
that,
should, but it's been like 3, 4 years in a row.
but it's been many years that they've won it, and you guys were close with them last year and played them, I think, in the regional championship. Correct? So, I mean, it just so many storylines going back to it. You don't have to at least travel far. You're right down the road in River Ridge, but that'll be another great setup for you guys.
So, Hayden, with the regionals coming up here beginning next week, with the potential, like Coach has said, facing either Galena or West Carroll, teams that you know well from conference play. What's the challenge of that postseason familiarity for you guys?
I would just say that we have to be able to trust our coaches to make changes, whether that's changing the defense, changing the offense. We have to be able to make the changes to make them more unfamiliar with us. Like when we played Galena the other night, we made some changes and it threw them off because they expected other stuff. They prepared for other stuff. So when we play a team that's familiar with us, we're familiar with them. We just have to be able to trust our coaches to make changes and just be coachable.
And Lily, what to you changes, mentally when you have to flip the switch from regular season to a postseason?
I just think being present in the moment, cause you never know when your last game is gonna be, so you just wanna play your hardest while you still can.
That was a pretty straightforward, easy answer right there, Lily. You can't get much more simpler than that, and that's a great mindset to have. Coach, how do you see yourself preparing for the postseason compared to the regular season? Do you feel it's pretty much similar, it's just a little bit different situation pressure wise?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that, like, once you get to the win or go home, it's always gets really real. But at the same time, like, I don't think we need to necessarily prepare any different, kinda like Hayden said. Like, we make the changes we need to change, because like we said, like, this would be the 4th time that we see Galena. We played him at Warren the beginning of the year as well.
That's right.
The tournaments, we played Warren 4 times, 3 times. We've seen them quite a bit, and we know kinda what they're gonna do. And obviously, like, a lot of our girls grew up playing with and against those girls as well. So, like, they wanna beat us, we wanna beat them. It's a good, healthy rivalry, um but I don't know, I think stakes are higher, but at the same time, I haven't really experienced postseason as a head coach, so I'm really excited, like, to go into it with this group.
And Hayden, it's question for you. And we have to talk about it because you need something to talk about on the show, right? But not that anybody looks forward or past what you guys have in front of you to, it's still conference season, and then in a couple, a 1 week from now, regionals start. But the program's last regional was in 2018. Is this something you guys know and talked about? And do you guys ever just say, "Hey, we want to be a group that does that"? Because I can speak from experience. When I took over our program, it would be 8 years. This was my 8th year. It was something that you have the banners in the gym, and it's something you walk in every day, and it's like, hey, we want to put our group on that board. We want to do that, and we want to make a name for ourselves. Is that something like you don't look ahead of anything, but you as a collectively as a group, it's like if you're not looking to play for a conference or play for a regional or get to a sectional, I'm not sure what you're playing for, right? Like you play to win. And for you guys as a group coming up since junior high, now into fresh soft to high school, is that something you guys have looked at? And do you remember the 2018? I know that's aging everybody, but it's probably a lot longer than what I think is 2018. But do you guys think of that or talk about it?
I would say that we're pretty aware of it and it definitely like motivates us to like get there.
Right?
But I say we don't spend too time thinking about it because this is a different team and we have big goals and different goals than that.
And it's crazy. You can see things change in the blink of an eye with anything going on. And in a year like this, there's probably 8 teams talking about the same thing of having a shot to win a regional this year, more than any other year in both boys and girls. It's fun in that way, but it's also like I think even more hectic because every game's going to matter, whether it be first round to second round to a championship. So yeah,
So, Lily, how does it feel now? For most of your high school career, you guys have been chasing Galena, really, and River Ridge Scales Mounds got 2 regional titles in your high school career as well. Now you guys are one of the teams that are being chased. How's that feel compared to being the chased to being the chaser?
Yeah, so I think we try not to really think about it and let it get to us. Everybody's gonna play their best game against us because 'cause we're the team to beat, but we try to just play our game and not let it get in our heads.
coach, on a on a separate level, just being a coach, not even having to talk about your team, but what do you think separates postseason wins and postseason survival different than regular season games and survival?
Yeah, I think our resiliency and our leadership. We have to lean on both of those a lot. When things get hard, I know they mentioned already when things get hard, like we have a lot of girls that will push through, that won't give up. They'll give their all every day and that want to show up and be there. Um, like that kind of goes hand in hand with our culture as well. Um, but like also staying consistent. So being consistent, but not being afraid to change if we need to. Um,
And I think the teams that, in my experience, the teams that win the big games and do that can handle those things, right? Like, just I've coached multiple sports, and whether it be a big football game, I don't think there's anything like a basketball game, whether it be boys or girls, in a regional setting or a regional final. And I think it's because you're all so close together in a jam packed gym, and the student section, and like everybody knows it's win or go home. I don't think there's any type of environment that's better, and win or lose, of that you won't remember. Um, and one of the things we talk about, no matter what, the season's going to be over in like 3 weeks, so make the most of it. But it will be something that you'll always remember, win or lose. Of I don't think there's an environment like it. Because a football setting, you're outside, you can kind of spread out, but with the basketball setting, it's especially depending upon where you go. Now, River Ridge is a
Big gym.
bigger gym, so more people, it can get a little bit louder. But some of these gyms, I know we're over at Duran. Will be a limited seating. It's going to be probably on top of each other. It's like you'll remember that 5 years from now, and it's just making sure that you show up and give everything you got, and hopefully you get lucky.
So Hayden, senior year, getting ready to chase down your first conference title for yourself in your final season. What does that mean to you personally?
I would say it means a lot. I put a lot of time and effort into the team, and so have my teammates. So it's just really special to me that we're able to have this opportunity, especially in my final season.
So was that one of the goals that you guys put on the checklist at the beginning of the year, was win the conference? Yeah.
we actually had a board that they all signed at the beginning of the year, that I still have. I kept it at home to bring in the last at the end of the year here, and actually I should check it one of these days here. It was like consistency was on there. I think that's what you wrote. I remember what you wrote. I will share. Just kidding. No, no, no one. But like there was conference champs on there that was in it to win it, like all those things with their names on them. So I think yeah, like it was definitely a goal that they had at the beginning of the season.
That's awesome.
If you put it on paper and talk about it, you can, that's how you make it happen. You can't make it something not to talk about, or what your goals are, because you can have a goal and you may not get it right. I mean, we've all been there as coaches and that, but you don't make it sound like nothing's attainable. And that's for anything in life. And for Lily, for you, you're now a senior. You grew up coming through as a freshman, now to a senior. What do you want the younger Warriors to see from this senior class, and what do you want them to know what they got to bring to the table coming through the program and the expectation?
I hope that they see our positive energy and our leadership, and they just continue that throughout their years and know that it's a limited time thing and you're not always going to be with this group of girls. And it's a great opportunity to just be yourself and have fun.
So, Coach, we're going to kind of do a little foreshadowing, but you might have already thought about this a little bit as the season is coming to a close here in the next couple weeks. But regardless of outcome, what are you most proud about this team?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it and we've referenced it a few times, but like the culture that they've created, like as coaches, we've done our best to like give opportunities and like different ways for them to build that culture, but they've really taken it and run with it. And that starts with all of our upperclassmen, our seniors. We have a lot of really, really good leaders. We have a lot of like positive leaders. It's not like there's a lot of different ways that people can lead. I know I talked at the beginning of the year about how we have leaders by example. We have leaders that are vocal leaders, but I feel like the environment that we step into every day is positive. And that's the reason for that. Like I can genuinely say like the best part of my day every day is showing up to practice, just getting to see all of them and have like the work that they've put in, like, show that it's paying off is amazing.
A question for you then, Hayden. Here in the next couple weeks, basketball season will be over. Your senior season will be over. What do you want this team to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered as like this group. Want to be remembered as the first team that Hannah coached and helping rebuild the girls basketball program. It's the team that changed the expectations for the program. So
Nothing wrong with that.
No. So, Lily, I'm going to start a sentence. I want you to finish it. This team will be successful in the postseason if.
Okay, this team will be successful in the postseason if we stay confident in each other and we stay confident. And we stay like easy with each other in the game and we just know what we're gonna do.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. So, I like it. You guys have definitely shown throughout all of these questions, obviously. Um, the culture that coach has tried to get you guys to establish, but then as seniors and along with your teammates, you guys have really brought it together for yourselves and have driven it, which is clearly evident in how you guys are talking coach speak at different times as well, being players yourselves, which is important. And for you, Hannah, it's probably very nice to have a group of seniors in your first year as well that are really harnessing what you guys are trying to establish program wise, and then seeing the success and the wins and the losses on the in that regard too. But more importantly, just the growth and what you're seeing overall for the program to continue to develop and move forward. So we want to thank you guys for taking time out of the show here, or time out of your Sunday, I should say, to be on our show. Um, we appreciate you guys coming on. We wish you guys the best of luck moving forward. Obviously, with that number 3 seed, you guys have set yourselves up for a very good opportunity to make some noise this postseason. At the same time, you got a couple games here coming up this week to lock down that conference title, to check that mark off the list that you guys have. So, uh, obviously, myself and Jay are going to continue to be watching what you guys are doing, but we want to wish you the best of luck as you close out the regular season this week and then move into postseason play.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
You bet.
thank
Best of
you.
luck.
All right, myself and
Thank
Jay
you.
will be back right after this.
When the job matters, your equipment can't fail. That's where J&R Rentals delivers. Serving Tri-States area from East Dubuque, J&R Rentals is your local source for dependable equipment. From lifts, trailers, pumps, and job site essentials built to work as hard as you do. Homeowners, contractors, big projects or small jobs, expect the same standard every time. Pickup or delivery is available. Equipment sales, service and repairs, propane refills, reliable equipment from people who know the job. Call J&R Rentals today at 815-747-7707 and get to work.
Jay, we just got done talking with East Dubuque head coach Hannah Thiele, along with senior leaders Haydan Dutler and Lily Rausch. And, one of the biggest takeaways I saw was you could hear both Lily and Haydan talking in ways where they were talking about what Hannah has established within the program, which really serves up to the level of buy-in that this team has had with a first-year head coach. And Hannah stated that she's worked with a couple of the girls before coming on as the head coach this year. Just to give a little bit on that, she graduated from Moline High School, played 4 years at Loris, turned that into an assistant coaching job with Loris. And then on top of that, she also works with the DBCA out of Dubuque, coaching AAU style ball there as well. So she's been coaching in a regular format within the Dubuque area for a little bit now, and has, like she said, has a little bit of familiarity with some of these girls. And I thought it was awesome to hear both Lily and Hayden talking about things that Hannah originally had established, and they're just starting to repeat it, which to me says not only are they buying in, but they're believing in what she's selling.
Well, yeah, buying in, understanding what she wants out of them as players. And I think the biggest thing when you see programs that are successful is consistency. And the answers were normally right on point with the same thing, whether it be the players and the coaches, in the question and answers of what they're looking for and what they're doing to build their program. And the good programs have that. You hear it from the coaches, you hear from the players, and they're all on board of what's their expectation. Um, the time when you see some crack in the armor is when different things are being said, different things are being wanted, and they don't understand what's going on. And that's where inconsistency is probably one of the things you fight worst with teams that struggle. But they know what is expected of them. The coach knows what she wants out of the players, and I think with that you're seeing a East Dubuque girls team that's going to fight for a regional title here very soon and win a conference title.
Yeah, and I mean, I was really taking a look at that River Ridge Regional, and you have defending champion Galena sitting in there, and obviously this isn't the same Galena team we've seen in recent years,
But
but they're starting to come on a little bit, and they're starting to get a little bit more healthy as well. And like they said, any given night, any one of these teams can strike you. And Galena having that success under their belt and knowing how to play in big time games, you can only anticipate that they're going to be ready to go with West Carroll here in round one. They're the favorite to win that game, to move into that regional semifinal to play East Dubuque. And then on the top side, you have a Pearl City team that's starting to click and hit, along with River Ridge Scales Mound, who was also a defending regional champion. So you got two defending regional champions in this one bracket, and then you got the conference leader in East Dubuque sitting right there.
yeah, I'll say this, and I will think this until I can't think anymore. But the things you don't want to see in a postseason, and the things you'll see where teams that maybe a surprise but not a surprise, past champions and past teams that have been there and done that. And you see that because they just know how to handle the situation, and coaches that know how to handle the situation. That's why you look at a Pecatonica lost a lot of its players, but you know that when the lights get turned on in that regional championship, they're going to show up. Why? Because of what they did and what they played in last year. More than any other sport, basketball is a game like that. You see that with a Galena. You know, Coach Watson's going to have that team ready to go. And it'll be their fourth time meeting this year. He's going to have that team ready to go. And they are playing better basketball than where they were earlier in the year. And you've seen that last year when all the talk was how they struggled out the gate. And I know I consistently, and we talked, Gracie was not going to allow that to happen, right? And it's who's going to be the person this year that's not going to allow that not to happen, because they have that pride at Galena of winning and winning and winning a conference or a regional title. And then you look at the River Ridge team, River Ridge Scales Mound team, who I thought beginning of the year
Top team
was the best team talent wise because of the guard play that they have. Their three guards are as good as any three guards in the area, and guards and ball handling in close games win games in February and March. Those three teams and an East Dubuque team who is not really snuck up on people, but I don't think at the beginning of the year was in some of those conversations, are now in that conversation. They're in a regional matchup with Galena and River Ridge, which makes for a great, story there that only one of those three teams are going to be able to hold that trophy. But as for a whole of the season, have brought so much excitement for their town and community. So going to be a great regional over there for East Dubuque, and whoever wins that, like every other regional this year, they're going to earn it.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it, but yeah, that was definitely one of the regionals I was really excited to see. Obviously, another one when we get there is your regional too, because I think there's some interesting matchups there as well. But anyway, taking a look across the NUIC in the past week, Lena Winslow Stockton Wrestling gets back on the state scene. Their team won the regional, having 6 individual champions with 5 runner-ups placed their team into the sectional semifinals where they beat Wheaton Academy. They move into the Elite Eight where they'll be wrestling for the team state title, getting themselves back into that state atmosphere once again. It's been a little bit since we've seen Lena Winslow Stockton at the state scene in a team tournament, but here they are, ranked number 2 in the state right now, right behind Coal City. Coal City obviously is also advancing to that same state finals. So it should be very interesting. I have not seen that bracket come out, but as soon as I get the bracket, we'll get that posted. On the girls' side, Fulton's Tessa Fosdick and Kirby Gurman both win regional titles as they will move on. Tessa won all 3 of her matches by pinfall. Kirby won her 2 matches by pinfall and her 3rd match by tech fall. So both those girls, congratulations on your regional championships. They are moving on to sectionals this upcoming weekend, so that'll be a lot of fun to see. Obviously, boys' individual sectionals are also coming up this week. We have a lot of wrestlers in there between, Lena Winslow Stockton has 11 guys in that sectional. We have a couple from Fulton, a couple from Dubuque. We have a couple from Amboy that will be wrestling in that. And that's the Byron sectional, always the toughest sectional in the state in recent years, and should be a lot of fun. Girls basketball side, like we said, the girls seedings are out. The brackets are out. We'll talk about that here momentarily. Right now, taking a look at the conference division layouts. East Dubuque beat River Ridge Scales Mountain this past week to get revenge from an earlier loss right before seedings came out earlier in the week. They take back the conference lead as well, so they are sitting at 7-1 in conference play on top of that conference in search of that first conference title since 2018. Dakota beat Pectonica this week in the NUIC North to create a tie at the top of that conference, and Eastland is well on their way to locking down a 6th straight NUIC South Conference championship there. Boys seedings, obviously, they're going to release this week here on February 12th. In the North, Dakota is still very much in control, undefeated in that play. They just picked up their 2nd loss of the season in a nail-biter to Winnebago yesterday, losing 66-65, a game that Dakota was up big in. It was also a rematch of the 3rd-place matchup at the Forston Holiday Tournament that Dakota had won 61-58 earlier in the year. So Dakota's 2 losses are to Byron and Winnebago, both Class 2A teams from the Big Northern, both teams that they have also beat during the regular season as well. So Dakota's still very strong there. One of the teams that's starting to get on a lot of coaches' lists of not wanting to necessarily match up with, and people that we're going to be hosting next week, is that of Galena, head coach Matt Weenan. And obviously, we're going to have all conference players and Drew Koenigs and Owen Hafel on the show as well. They beat East Dubuque in 4 overtimes Thursday night, 67-65, to create a tie between those two at the top of the NUIC West. That should be a lot of fun. Galena has now won a regional title since 2001. That is crazy. Eastland on that NUIC South Side. Boys, girls, Eastland dominates that South Side, still very much in control at that undefeated conference mark. And head coach,
How about that?
Eric Kudranowicz, Coach K from Scales Mountain, picks up career win 300 with a 50-43 win over Milledgeville, his 20th season leading the Hornets at Scales Mountain.
This is Scales Mound.
Yes.
I wonder if he did that right after he won.
I have no idea, but
Kick the door down.
He brings a lot of energy, that's for sure. I have not seen Scales Mountain play live in person, but I have seen them on NFHS. And of course, the couple title game runs that he had here just a few years ago definitely has created a lot of buzz there.
Well, yeah. And huge shout out, because when we talk about some of the schools and some of the wins, he's doing it at if not the smallest school in the area. And I say that coaching at Orangeville. But, you're sometimes limited, right? Year in and year out of what you have coming up. But you watch his teams play, they know how to play basketball. They know what the expectations are. They know what, you know, as players, you can see that they know what their coach is asking for them, and they are great to watch. I get to see them quite a bit because I always go to the early on tournament over there in the Thanksgiving time and catch some games over there. But his teams are one of those that you like watch playing because they just play hard for 4 quarters, and at the end of the game, win or lose. And for Coach K, 300 wins is a huge number, and you know, he's doing it even when, you know, 5, 6 years ago when they had that run of players that they had in the team, and he's still getting it done today. So
Yeah.
huge shout out there um, for 300.
Yeah, no, absolutely a great milestone achievement, albeit definitely putting together a great Hall of Fame career, in my opinion, based off of what he's done, like you said, at a Scales Mound program that is not always easy to stay consistent with the low level of kids that you have in the school. Therefore, the talent to pick from may not always be at its highest either, but they've been very fortunate to establish a great program that continues to build good basketball players.
Yeah, year in and year out, he gets the job done, and you know, it's great to see.
So let's take a look back here at that girls bracket. The official bracket is out. We'll start in the Durand Regional, Jay, where your Orangeville Broncos are sitting with that 5 seed. Obviously, Eastland, the host of the sectional, gets that number 1 seed as we had projected, but they've kind of fallen down a little bit. You beat them here earlier this week, and
yeah, just one game.
Yeah.
Just one game. They'll be there. They play well. They've won a couple games after we beat them, and you know, we were fortunate enough to get out of there with a win. But they're the number 1 seed for a reason, and they're the favorites along with probably Dakota. You know, but you know, a Warren Stockton matchup will be a big one. They just played the other day, and Stockton was victorious against the Warren team, who Warren is the 8 and Stockton's the 9. So they'll get to play again here in less than a week on that Saturday afternoon game. And then, like you said, us as the 5 seed will play a Durand team that we split with.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, anything can happen. And that's what we talk about in regional play, right? Like it's such a different vibe, and you can't put a finger on it, you know, but you have, you know, for us, it's a different, you know, and just speaking for myself, it's a different vibe. We're not supposed to win, right? We're not supposed to. Dakota's the heavy favorite. Eastland's the heavy favorite, you know, so we have nothing to lose going in, and you know, that's how we'll handle it. But we got to get past the Durand team, like I said, who we split with, and we'll be ready to upset us, and they're hosting the regional. So, you know, it'll be a great regional in Durand. But yeah.
Now you get to host that game at home, though, right? That
Correct.
Opening round.
Correct. 2:00. I don't think it's out yet, but it's 2:00 on Saturday.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We had to get that game in early. You gotta take the lady out to dinner. Gotta do something nice once in a while.
There you go. So taking a look at the Galva Regional,
Yes.
which, you know,
that was kind of changed because we thought the Peck Weathersfield matchup was going to be in Galva.
Right.
But
it did get split up. Peck and Weathersfield definitely stayed together, but the site moved to Fulton for them based off of where Galva and Fulton were placed. Fulton being the 5 seed stays with the 2 and 3 seeds. So really not a huge surprise there. I guess I was thinking more so that the 5 seed would have stayed with the 4 seed like they would have naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they did take into consideration some of this travel time that it would have caused, and kind of did the flip in the other direction where they put the 4 seed, or they moved the 5 seed out of that traditional matchup where the 4 seed would be through Polo in from Fulton going to Galva now. So yeah, Polo at that 6 seed playing Galva in the opening round. Bureau Valley gets that 4 seed. They're going to have to host Morrison in that opening round. And then you have Ridgewood and Stark County. But in that number 1 seed is the heavy, heavy favorite in Sterling Newman as well.
Yeah, Newman showed, I think, throughout the year that they are the favorite for a regional, and probably they would be the favorite for the sectional, just by their sheer play and who they played and who they beat.
Yeah, I think, when you take a look at it, they've played Pectonica earlier this year. That was a good close game, but they came out on top on that. Along with some other teams that they've played. They've played Eastland. They won that one as well. So, yeah, very easy to say Newman is the favorite going into this Eastland sectional, but obviously they got to survive the regional first that they have down in Galva. The Fulton Regional obviously is going to feature Pectonica and Wethersfield, of which we saw those two teams play earlier this year. Pectonica winning that one in a close one. Those two are the heavy favorites to get to that regional championship based off the competition that they have. Obviously, you have Orion that's sitting in there, should get by Forreston, but you never know. Orion's kind of been hit and miss throughout the course of the year. And Fulton has had some good lights of action here and there, too. I think it will be a fun regional here in Fulton. Obviously, Fulton being the host, they get to host that first-round game against Milledgeville and then move right into hosting the entire regional as well. You could see some things from Coach Mike Menchaca out of his Steamers to try and give Wethersfield a game there.
Yeah, it'll be a big matchup for him because, like I said, we've seen the Pecatonica Wethersfield game, and that was a great game that came down to the wire with Nowd hitting a big jumper, I think, from the left free throw line area, that got them for the win down there. But that was a back and forth battle. And like I said, you put that in a regional setting, it's going to be even bigger, but both have work to do. I think Peck is the easy favorite in the Orion Forreston matchup, but like you said, a Fulton team, if they get past Milledgeville, a Fulton team at home in a regional is always going to be a tough out for anybody, and it'll be interesting how Wethersfield handles that. Because home, we've talked about it, and we talk about it all the time, but to host a regional is an advantage.
It is.
And we look at the next one.
Yeah, so we got the River Ridge Regional. Obviously, we've had River Ridge seeded anywhere from 3 to 4 in most of our projections, but right before the seeding took place, River Ridge was able to beat East Dubuque, which kind of gave them that head-to-head win to jump them from that projected 3 seed into that 2 seed
and
spot.
late in the year.
Yeah.
You can talk earlier in the year if you're talking November, December, wins and losses, because everybody's getting their feet wet. But when you go head-to-head like they did and beat East Dubuque at East Dubuque, I think was the big one right before voting. That's fresh in everybody's mind. And I've said most of the year I was waiting for River Ridge to go on that run like they did, because I think when you have 3 guards like they do, they're going to be in there, and they're a good team. And like I said, then you get them able to host a regional. It's one of those things that is also an advantage. So
yeah, and
they're going to be a tough out.
And that's why I like this. To me, this regional is the toughest regional, I feel, followed by your regional in the Durand regional. I think that would be the second toughest regional that we have in the sectional bracket layout, because you got the 2 seed River Ridge Scales Mound, which is kind of ironic. Yes, they earned that seed because they beat East Dubuque. East Dubuque has the better record. East Dubuque did beat River Ridge Scales Mound a couple days after the seedings came out.
Timing is everything.
And they are in first place in the conference chase with River Ridge Scales Mound in second place there. So, kudos to Coach Weigel and his team, like you said, turning it on late in the season, being where everybody kind of expected him to be as a defending regional champion. But then, like we've already talked about, you got another defending regional champion and a legendary team there in Galena at the 6 seed. And then Pearl City's been a hot team throughout the course of the year as well. They've been a team that's been hard to deal with. They've had a lot of splits as well.
I could be wrong. You talk a little bit, Kyle, but I want to say in my head, Pearl City played them tight or beat them earlier in the year, but let me check.
But you got Pearl City at that 7 seed opening up with Lena Winslow. Pearl City should be the favorite in that matchup. Galena, West Carroll, in a NUIC West matchup that Galena has won both contests against West Carroll as well. Galena, the heavy favorite in that matchup. But then that would put your potential games, number 2 River Ridge against number 7 Pearl City, number 3 East Dubuque against number 6 Galena. And it should be a lot of fun there when you get into that regional semifinal.
Yes, I can't remember a lot of things, but I do remember this because it was early in the year around Thanksgiving. Um, Pearl City beat River Ridge at the Dakota tournament, 38-37. So they do have a history. They have played. It'll be round 2, I believe, on that. I didn't look far enough to see if they played a second time here, but they did. They lost 46-33 later on, a couple weeks later. So they split the regular season. So that'll be a matchup. And if they're able to get by Lee Wynn, who has been hot, it gets hot and cold also. So all of those matchups are going to be big. But like I said, at the end of the year, they're all playing for one more day.
It is kind of interesting, too, that even with the way the seeding is this year, that the Durand Regional and the River Ridge Regional broke out to be all NUIC teams in both regionals.
Yes. And, cool that you'll see NUIC teams loaded in the sectional because there will be 2 for sure with the River Ridge and the Durand. We'll definitely put 2 NUIC teams there. And then the favorites of the Fulton Regional would be Pecatonica. So that could be 3 of the 4 with the lead is Sterling Newman in the Galva. So
yeah. And hopefully Polo being in that 6 seed where when we had Coach Grobe on, they were projected to be a 4 seed back at that time. They kind of slid, but they can be streaky hot at times too and could give Newman a good game.
For that, it's if they're hitting their outside shots because they play an up and down game, get up and down. They shoot a lot of long threes. If they're hitting, it's great. If not, that's where I think you see some of the losses where they, long shot, long rebound, and they're pushing the ball, which pushing the ball will be fit right up Sterling Newman. If you're not hitting that shot and you do that, it can get out of hand early. But, Polo will have to get past Galva, and they'd have to get past Bureau Valley, Morrison Winter to get there. So probably Bureau Valley.
Yeah,
you were giving me the look on that, but like I said, any day, any time. But yeah, so they'd have to win a couple games there to meet a Newman team that, has flexed its muscles against some of the top NUIC teams already.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, obviously, out of that Galva Regional, Morrison's winless on the year. So, I mean, new coach, new system, new things going on. They don't have the players that they had a season ago. Polo, obviously, the only other NUIC team in that regional, so I'm definitely pulling for Polo all the way in that regional, and I hope Coach Grobe can get the girls prepared and ready to do what we had talked about earlier this year for fighting for that regional championship.
Yep, and like I said, the season ends this week, and the first round games are next Saturday, so it'll be interesting. So we'll see that, and this Thursday, we'll get info on the boys.
Yep,
boys side and everything out.
Boys seedings will release Thursday, and then Friday the official bracket will release. But being that the boys seeds are true 1 through 16 on both sides, being that there's 32 teams in that sectional, it'll be very easy to really determine how the bracket will break out. The only differing issues will be if there's 2 teams that are hosts that end up in that same seeding, which we've seen on the right side where it's been who is it? Is it Pearl City and Marion Central Catholic? They've been fighting between that 8 and 9 seed, which in natural bracket history, 8 and 9 get paired together. Well, that can't be the case being that both are the regional hosts. So that'll be the tricky part there as far as seeing how the seeds break out.
Yeah, and on the girls' side, for our side, how I thought it would go and how it was voted was exactly how it ended up. I have no way to think of how it's going to go on the. I don't know so much about the subsectional B because I don't know some of those teams.
Right.
But I think Eastland has played its well, or subsectional A. I was looking at the girls' side, but subsectional B, I have no idea how that's going to pan out, and that's going to be the most interesting thing because on the subsectional A, a lot of teams you're not familiar with, but Eastland's going to have worked its way to a 2, all the way up to a 2 seed ranking wise.
Yeah.
So they're going to stay away from the Newman. But on the subsectional B side, it is such a. I mean, Dakota I think is a clear number one.
Clear number one.
Clear number one. But then you have Galena, Peck, East Dubuque, and that 3 and 4 is going to be big. Because is it going to be Peck at the 4 and East Dubuque moves ahead of them? Or is it going to be, that Galena win moves them up to the 2? But, everybody, the East Dubuque and the Peck have both played Dakota tough.
Yes.
And that's going to be either held in Pearl City, more than likely, you would think. Or Marion, I guess.
Well, Pearl City gets the 8 seed. That's where Dakota's going.
Right. So, I mean, those are things that are all going to play a factor, but
Which means that's where the 4 seed's going too.
Yeah.
Whoever gets that.
So you look at the down the line of Dakota, Galena, Peck, East Dubuque, Scales Mound, Lee Wynn, Warren, Pearl City. You just look at the top 8 teams there. And teams with great year. Don't know a lot about Marion. Then they're fighting out that 8-9. Then you got Stockton, South Beloit, Christian Life, Alton Hebron, Durand, Orangeville, River Ridge. But when you look at that top 8,
that's top. That's solid.
That's a solid top 8 when Pearl City and Warren are your 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And those 2 teams, and watching them play, can beat anybody.
They can, and they have.
They have the fire. What they have is the firepower. Warren has the 2 bigs that are just tough matchups, right? They're just tough matchups to handle. And you give me Kemple and a group in a setting,
Yeah, I was able to watch the Pearl City Pectonica game Thursday night live, so I was there. And I didn't take any video that night, and I should have, but I was sitting in a bad part of the gym to be able to take video. That would have been good for both sides. And Pearl City, Pectonica jumped out to a big lead, and Pearl City battled it all the way back in the first quarter to make it within 2 points, I believe, if I remember correctly. It was either 2 or 3 points. And then Pectonica started open up there in the second quarter, but by the second half, Pectonica really took control of that game and then walked it away to an 18-point lead or win. But like you said, Pearl City has that magic, and man, watching Lane Kemple play, he is definitely a difference maker for sure.
No, he had said that he's one of the guys that you just go watch play to watch play. And he was one I've said all year that I just enjoy watching play because does so many things, smooth with the basketball, doesn't overshoot, doesn't undershoot, knows how to pick his spots, and never feels like anything's forced. And there's not a ton of players that know how to play that way. Sometimes you just see kids it's my turn type basketball is what it turns into. And that's like, I haven't shot in a while, so now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Right? You get that my turn philosophy, but he does not play that way, and he just facilitates and shoots, and he could get a shot anytime down if he wanted just because of how gifted offensively he is. But they're your 8.
Right.
Is what I'm saying, right? And like I said, Dakota's earned the 1, but that Galena, Peck, East Dubuque, Scales Mound, Lee Wynn, Warren, Pearl City, that's going to be a interesting matchup and crazy second round regional games, really.
Yeah, the semifinals of those games are going to be huge.
Yep.
And like you said, Dakota won. Galena looks very comfortable in that 2 seed spot. Pectonica and East Dubuque could be a toss up. Pectonica does have the head-to-head win over East Dubuque, a 21-point win, back at that Eastland shootout.
Yep.
But there are some things, like you said, Pectonica did play Dakota close. In talking with Coach Heisler as well, he feels like Galena is actually one of the bigger teams to beat going into the postseason here because of how physical they can be down low, along with the ability to shoot the outside shot. Dakota obviously able to do a lot down low and outside. Not as strong as some of these other teams, though, in the physicality department, but they have been the stalwart all season long. That subsectional A side, like you said, you can bet money on it. Newman's the 1 seed, Eastland 2 seed, Orion 3 seed, Anawan 4 seed. After that, who knows how it's going to really play out. Forston, to me, would be that 5 seed, but they've been streaky. They've been hit and miss. And in my personal opinion, I felt like Forston kind of has underperformed at times compared to what we thought that they could be or would be this year. But definitely a lot of athletes. And they can play in big time moments as well to create some issues. So definitely a team to watch out for there. And unfortunately, after that rest of subsectional A is not as strong as what subsectional B is.
No, but looking at it, West Carroll have earned their way to a 6th seed.
Yes.
If this
power
projection
ranking
holds true, and a credit to them, because they'll be hosting a first round game, possibly versus a Milledgeville. If it would, right, 6 would go.
6 would go to 11, yeah.
6 would, yeah. So, they would at least, with where they're at in the top 8, they can at least get to host a first round regional game, which would be huge.
Yeah, and that's great for Coach Naples and that team. And it was so awesome having those guys on here a few weeks ago, getting to talk about Thunder Up.
Yeah, Thunder. Hopefully they made it to Iowa.
Yeah. But what a turnaround season. I mean, last year, West Carroll was sitting at the bottom of these seedings when we were going through the projections, and now they're in that top 8 seeding with an opportunity to, rightfully sit into a potential regional semifinal game, which West Carroll hasn't seen in a long time.
Yep, so good for them.
But a lot of big games coming up. Obviously, girls basketball season wraps up this upcoming week with the end of conference play. Regional quarterfinal play begins on Saturday, the 14th. So that's coming in 6 days from now. Boys basketball seedings come out this week. Their regular season wraps up next week. So a lot of good games still coming up for the boys. Meaningful games here on Tuesday ahead of seedings. But most of those coaches probably already have seedings put in, or at least are getting ready to have them placed. But either way, going to be a fun time. Sectionals for wrestling coming up this upcoming weekend as well. We got some individuals that are looking to book a spot at the state tournament. Definitely expect to get quite a few guys back down to that state tournament as well, of which we're working on providing live coverage for the final day of individual state wrestling on the 21st down at the State Farm Center. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. But get out to those games, root for your teams. As always, root for the NUIC. We'll see you next week.